YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Dino Fury face-off pack of the Blue Ranger with the Ptera Freeze armor and Lord Zedd. This is our second face-off pack. Both of them a disappointment because neither of them include John Travolta or Nicolas Cage, the most important, so it's a 0 out of 10. Anyways, guys, until next time. But this is our second one, and basically the setup is you got a villain, you have a ranger with one of the armors, and then you have a bike. And the Red Ranger's bike was at least in part based off of one we have in the show, but it wasn't exactly. This is just a repaint. And then obviously we have Lord Zedd here, who's a returning villain from mmpr that has a reoccurring presence in Dino Fury, and then we got our Blue Ranger. Something worth noting is that unlike the other one, which was in an open packaging, this one comes in this closed packaging right here, which is actually kind of cool because you have some really neat art of a Zedd that's actually a lot more svelte than the one in the show. A lot of people have gone to taking Zedd because he looks like Sledge with his stature, which I don't disagree with. But you get some cool art there, and it's kind of cool having it in the package like this. I think it looks more appealing. It is weird, though. I wanted to note this because the other one was open packaging, so you had to like take the twine out or whatever and unscrew it or unwind it or whatever. With this one, though, they're wrapped in like tissue paper, which is really weird. But it was just weird. They were wrapped like Christmas ornaments, which led to his little antenna here being bent. And I just wanted to note that, something to keep an eye out for. It could lead to something in here being, well, bent. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. Let me get this out of the way first with the bike. You know, the bike is overall fine. It has all the details it needs. It's pretty cheap feeling, but it's decent for what it is. I think kids that want to buy a bike figure will get a kick out of it, and they'll be getting exactly what they want. You do have a little kickstand here. It rolls. The Rangers can ride on it. It's harmless. Like I said, as of this recording, unless there's a surprise in Season 2 or 3, this version is not in the show. Red does have a bike, but it does look different than this one we got with the red, but we don't have blue. But it's not, you know, outside of the realm for Power Rangers to release something like this because Bandai would do it all the time, and it's harmless. I will just say that it kind of sucks that you have to buy the bike, whether it's in the show or not, if you want to get the armor figures, and I'm going to talk about something with that here in a minute. But speaking of the armor figures, let's just go over it here. I mean, Blue Ranger here, this is the same exact mold you get with the standard Blue Ranger, just with an armor on it. There is, of course, the difference of he does not have that silver bald cap right here. If you get the regular release Blue Ranger, it still has that silver bald cap. I actually believe they did release a fixed one, but this was the original release, so this is fixed for that. And then they did make a fixed one in the Amazon 5-pack, which is what this is. I feel like I remember someone saying or spotting a fixed version of blue. I can't remember if that's true or not, but that's the only difference you're going to find in regards to the core mold, is if you own the original mold, it has that silver bald cap, but everything else about it is the same, which honestly, you know, I've had a few problems here and there with these figures, few loose joint problems, but for the most part, they've been pretty solid basic figures with decent details and articulation. Like, I think the helmet looks good. It's a little bit ill-proportioned for what it looks like in the show, but it's nothing too huge of a deal for a figure at this price point, and I think the paint looks good on it, and the articulation is overall pretty solid for what you get on a basic figure. You know, not as good as Lightning or something like Figure Arts, but pretty decent, and actually a lot better than some of Hasbro's basic figures for other lines. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And the armor itself, I think, looks pretty good overall. I think they did a good job on the blue color of it. I think it's really nice here. You have kind of a shinier silver here for the logo. You do have the wings back here, which are detachable, and they can actually move back and forth, and you can have them kind of flying and stuff, which is rather neat. Like, overall, the armors are a pretty cool aspect of these figures, and I think that Hasbro really had a huge missed opportunity with these. I feel like if this was Bandai, we would have so many figures released of all the different armor potentials, and I think they wasted the potential to have just different variety in the basic figure line where it's something easy with just an armor. I mean, even just taking advantage of the gimmick, that could have been something cool where you released some in the regular line and be like, mix and match the armors for fun, or then release like a special 4 or 5 pack and be like, you know, combine these with the others to swap armors. I think that would have been a really cool, fun, marketable gimmick that would have gotten collectors excited because they can do all the represented modes, but also kids would probably get a kick out of swapping all the different armors amongst the Rangers. And I think it's kind of a bummer that as of this recording, the only way you can get two of the different armors is having to buy a villain and bike figure set. At least in this case, I don't have Lord Zedd, but with the other one, you know, I kind of wanted the bike, but not necessarily, and I already had a Void Knight figure. And the armor, it's not permanently attached, so if you're able to get the head off, you can swap them if you want. We have Lord Zedd here, which is basically a classic-looking basic Lord Zedd figure. That's brilliant reviewing right there, Dawson. But it's actually not a terrible figure. I would say that as mold-wise, it's a step up in regards to accuracy and proportions compared to the original release Lord Zedd, which I do not have on hand, but I'll put up a little picture. And also, despite having a soft spot for the Super Legends figures because they come from an era before we were oversaturated with mmpr stuff, it is also a more accurate mold than that. It's not better than the Lightning Collection one, which is obviously a lot more detailed, a lot more accurate, just a lot more cool stuff going on. But as far as a basic Lord Zedd figure, it's not half bad, even if it has that kind of fresh hamburger meat look to it. The proportions on it are fine. It has kind of all the base details for the basic figures. If you either can't find Zedd or want to save money, it's honestly not half bad. The only part I don't like about him is the visor. Paint looks weirdly cheap, and it kind of flows weirdly. Again, this is kind of a basic figure. You're not expecting top tier quality, but that definitely looks a little strange. But he features the same articulation and then his standard weapon here, which is actually honestly decently comparable to the Lightning one. It's just a little bit of a lighter color, and you don't have this like holdable like handle in the middle, but otherwise it's honestly fine, kind of harmless if you just want a cheap Zedd figure, and it's nice for kids to be able to get that as well if they see him in the show. But overall, this is a fine set. You get an armored figure, which is different for your collection. You get a Zedd figure, which has not been released individually. Unfortunately, you do have to get the bike. I think this is a set kids will really like. Obviously, I think there's going to be some collectors interested in it. It's nothing that I'm going to say is a must-have or anything like that, but I would say my blanket recommendation for this figure set is to wait for a sale. I feel like I say that a lot, and that's like no-duh advice for like anything, no matter how much you want it, is to wait for a sale. But in particular, I saw the Red Ranger and Void Knight set of this go on sale almost immediately. In fact, like no lie, when I was walking out of Walmart having found this, I walked through the clearance aisle, and there was a Red Ranger Void Knight set on the very end. So unless you're like really antsy, just wait a little bit, and I have a good feeling that this will go on sale, at which point I can definitely recommend it if you want to fill out your Dino Fury basic figure collection, especially for the armor. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, climb the steps, and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.